Hello everyone, it's been a while since we last looked at gemstones together, so today we are going to fix that. Forgive us constant traveling, Rwanda and Mongolia and now Mozambique, but today it's gem time. Here you can not only buy pieces that haven't yet been sold, but also look, analyze and say, I want exactly this, only bigger and square, for example. And then you can write us to WhatsApp, hello I love number 10 for example, only could you find me one in a triangle shape and twice the size? We will ask you for a deposit and then track down the exact stone you want. Reminder, an international delivery and official lab certificate are always included. Okay, let's get started. 1, 2 and 3. This is the king of today's showcase, Paraiba Tourmaline. In fact, some even call it the king of all gemstones, at least judging by sales, Paraiba has taken the throne. Legally, in many countries, Tourmaline is listed as semi-precious gem, but Paraiba sells for hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Scroll down, open the description under the video, expand it, and you will see the prices. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for small stones. And if the stone reaches 30 or 40 carats, it will easily sell for over $1 million. No problem. Prices are still skyrocketing even after all these years. And in the just last 3 years, Paraiba price jumped 300%. Now, if you look at lot number 3, you will see that there is a small window. It's a kind of a pale patch right in the center. And guess what? No one cares anymore. History repeats itself, just like with rubies and Kashmir sapphires. Even cracked stones, poorly cut ones with chips or windows, still fine, still sell for fortunes. Nobody in their right mind will recut away 50 or 60k of carat weight just to close a window. For those who are new here, a window is a cut arrow, often done deliberately, where the center becomes see-through and loses color. To close that window, we would have to trim off 1 or 2 carats. And look at the way of lot number 3 and ask yourself, who is going to cut that? Answer, no one. Rubies had the same story. Mishappen, with chunk missing, with full of occlusions and bubbles, and they still fetched millions. Why? Because there were no others available. Paraiba is now following the exact same pattern. My prediction? In another 3-4 years, asymmetrically cut Paraiba will be normal, deliberately faced to keep maximum weight. Those who manage to buy a reasonably well-cut stone now will make a fortune. Because honestly, I'm scared to even think how much it will cost in 10 years. For context, around 7 years ago, I bought 12 carats Paraiba for maybe $7,000. I thought this is it, that's the ceiling, prices will never rise beyond that, and yet, look at what's happening now. Check the prices in the video description and you will see what I mean. Of course, there is tons of weak material, pale, fractured, resin-filled, oiled, dyed stones, without neon glow, they look lifeless, washed out and boring. Naturally, we pick only the best one for you, so which means yes, the price will never be cheap as well. I know someone will comment, oh, but I saw a Paraiba for 1,000 a carat. Sure. Just like Toyota Corolla is also a car, but Bentley somehow cost a little more. So the situation is exactly the same here. Number 4. Not a Paraiba, but still a Tourmaline. This isn't Paraiba, so it's not priced like a spaceship ticket, but it completely stole my attention. Gorgeous cut, gorgeous color. It looks like icy frozen water. I actually fell for this one, but I know myself that I will never wear a pendant, and for a ring this stone is too big. Still, for anyone who loves large pendants, this is a dream. What attracts me most in that is not screaming bright, but has its subtle restrained beauty. Grayish pale blue-green with slight inky undertone and a brilliant cut. Number 5. Rubelite Tourmaline. Another tourmaline, this time is a Rubelite, rare, though not Paraiba rare, and certainly not as expensive. But still, fine Rubelite in large sizes is genuinely scarce. Very good color here, and as I've said many times, ruby is the most expensive colored gemstones in the world, so rubies are disappearing fast, just like Paraiba. By the way, right now in Mozambique, where we are with the team, is the last relatively stable Paraiba producing deposit. Even here, the material is drying up. Tomorrow we will be heading straight to the mines. It's a big question if we will be allowed to actually dig, because this material is too valuable. Well, who knows if you want to swallow a piece which can worth 20 or 30 millions. So it's 100% going to be very strictly guarded and regulated, but we will see. Anyway, rubies are already in the stratosphere price-wise. That pulls all red-looking gems with them. Bright scarlet garnets, for example, have risen by 1000% over the last decade, and rubelite also becoming very expensive. Among tourmalines, Paraiba is definitely the undisputed top, and then comes the rubelite, and then the lagoon tourmalines. So a large, vivid rubelite can absolutely sell for hundreds of thousands. And usually these stones are packed with inclusions, but this one specifically is remarkably clean, which is a big rarity. Number 6, Sphene or titanite. Now, today I'm not showing stones strictly in order, blame African internet, but let's continue as we go. Here is number 6, Sphene, which is also known as titanite, and oh, how I love these stones. I want one for myself as well, but realistically it will just sit in my safe for decades because I already have too many rings to wear. For those who don't know, Sphene varies wildly. Some of them are pale, brownish and very muddy looking. Others, like this, explode with sparkles. Sphene has an optical property, dispersion, the ability to split light into rainbow flashes. Diamonds also have it, demantoid garnets have it, and zircon has it. But in Sphene, the effect can be stronger than in any of those. And the stone is insanely sparkly in our case. Important, not every Sphene is like that, far from it. Finding this bright one is very hard. Which is why no, it's not gonna cost $100, but I believe it's worth every cent. And for people who ask, but is it an investment? Of course it is. Stones of this quality will always grow in price. Now, number 7, a Tsavorite, which is also known as African emerald, so that's not really correct way to say that. The Tsavorites are also the stones worth hundreds of thousands of dollars at this stage. Technically it's a garnet, though it's often nicknamed African emerald, as I said. That nickname is misleading because Africa actually produces emeralds too. In Ethiopia, in Zambia, there are plenty of those. The quality is different question, but still there are nice stones there. And Tsavorite also got stuck with the emerald label as well for the green color. However, for the lovers of green stones, I would personally think Tsavorite beats emerald hands down. Its color is richer, more punchy, more vivid, and this particular Tsavorite is one of a kind, which is absolutely unique. I've handled countless stones, and this is the first of its type I've ever seen. Why? Because the color is very unusual. It's darker, yet bright at the same time. A paradox you have to see in person. Unfortunately, this one is already sold, so not everyone will get a chance, but its own owner and their friends. However, yes, that is an investment stone, absolutely, without any questions. And here is why. Okay, 8 years ago, we could buy a 3-carat Tsavorite for $100, really. That's right, $100. Today, per carat, stones like these exceed $10,000. Do the math on that appreciation. And why? Because there is only one significant deposit worldwide. That's why it drives the scarcity and the price. Number 8, and another Tsavorite. Look at the difference in color between 7 and 8. Which is better? People always ask that. Truth? Both are excellent. Both are large, clean, untreated, and command strong demand. The supply is shrinking. Tsavorite mining is declining year after year, and for every stone there are buyers, multiple in fact. They're staying in line to get the nice ones. So these ones are really easy to sell. And here is an interesting paradox I observed over the years. The larger the stone, the easier it is to sell. Counterintuitive, right? But that's capitalism world. Wealthy buyers keep getting wealthier even in crisis. So if you're selling to the wealthy, you will always be on the winning side, unfortunately. That's just how it works, at least in my experience. Number 9. We're still in the for the rich segment, let's call it so. Here is a classic Mahenge Spinel, which is unmistakable neon color. The Mahenge deposit was very unique, one of a kind in the world actually. And a little history. The founder of Senior Gems was actually the first foreigner, the first white outsider at least, to arrive there. At the time, the only other documented outsiders were one man from Nigeria and one more person from, I think it was from Kenya. So the miners kept a handwritten registry of every visitors with the names, birthdays, passport numbers and signatures. So our entry is proudly there. That deposit is now exhausted. It was in Tanzania. In the last 10 years, Mahenge Spinel prices have risen about 1,500%. Geologists initially thought that the main vein would last 25 years more, but eventually even the pockets, that's the so-called places alongside the vein where you can have more stones than usual, they started drying out and bringing less and less material over the last 2 years, even though at first the vein was very rich and they assumed that it will continue like that, but surprise, surprise, it didn't. So even though the vein is still going on, it's just a barren host rock there, unfortunately. The deposit is gone, far ahead of schedule, and the prices now astronomical and cosmic even, I would say. Check the description below, you will see there are no mistaken zeros put in the price. Number 10. This is also a Mahenge Spinel, by the way, but in blue, which raises a fair question. If the deposit is mined out, why are you still showing Mahenge stones? Answers: locals. Wealthy Tanzanians stockpiled material 10, 15 or 20 years ago for peanuts, literally a few $100s for stones. The deposit is now about 30 years old. And now, when they need some money, they sell off piece by piece. So I assume that this one was bought sometime in the very beginning of the mining process for maybe a couple of $100. And now check the description for the price of the lot number 10, you will see the difference. So this particular shade was among the colors the deposit produced as well, even though Mahenge is more known for the red and pink colors. Don't be surprised, there were even Twilight style colors appearing now and then among Mahenge Spinels. This one resembles a little bit the Cobalt Spinel from Vietnam, though with slightly less cobalt content. Doesn't stop locals from slapping sky-high prices on them yet. And collectors still buy because they're beautiful and because they're investments. People hold them 3, 5 or 10 years, as much as you can, and resell with massive markup. Number 11, another Mahenge Spinel here, same family. The color is jaw-dropping. It's bright, it's electric, almost like the Vietnamese electric blue. And if you weren't for the inclusions, it could command over $1 million. Unfortunately, there are too many micro-inclusions. For those new to this, Spinel often shows clouds, like suspended particles. These can be negative crystals, tiny hollow crystal-shaped voids, in other words, or tiny rutile needles, that also happens, and they actually enhance the beauty. But when there are too many, it becomes distracting. In this case, when you see the stone in person, it's rather obvious. As jewelry, it is still gorgeous, but an investment, something for Thursby's or Christie's auction? No. Too inclusions heavy. For me personally, I actually like the stones with quirks. Lots of inclusions or one big unusual one, I love that. They look very unique and interesting to me. But as a serious investment, no. Number 12, 13 and 14. More Mahenge Spinels here, smaller sizes though and much calmer colors. There are also Mahenge Spinels, but smaller and not quite as neon electric. Still, their prices are rising 100% guaranteed. That's the trend. They are solid investment. You can definitely resell them later for more. But they're just not as expensive as well as their brothers from the list above. Compared to lots number 10 and 11, they aren't blazing neon electric blue, but they're still good, attractive colors. And they're more accessible. Entry point prices are not astronaut level. Number 12 is also quite small. I deliberately show smaller stones because not everyone owns, say, a chain of private banks. Some collectors don't like huge stones as well. So for those out there who don't want to have a big one but still want to have a Mahenge, that's your chance. The downside with investing in small gems though, at the top end your buyer is usually a wealthy person or the wife of the wealthy person as well, and they want big 3 carats, 5 carats usually stones. Not very much exciting for them. They want 10, 15, 20 carats, generally speaking. The larger the better. That said, these smaller spinels are still rising steadily in value, and they make sense for collectors who want something, fine, but don't want to mortgage the house to buy that. Numbers 15 and 16. Very famous Twilight Spinels here. That's how we call them. Now, it has become a very rare case nowadays. My personal favorite color though, Twilight or Stormy Spinel as I call it, they come from Tanzania, specifically from Tondoro deposit, and in the past also from Sri Lanka and Burma. Years ago, Twilight Spinel appeared quite often in the market, but now it's quite rare. I have one amazing triangular specimen in triangular cut. I even made myself a ring from it, but I wear it very rarely because honestly I spend 10 months of the year traveling, and when I travel I don't carry something what could get me killed for that. So the stones sit in the safe at home. That's why even stones I adore, like these Twilight Spinels, I usually end up selling. Otherwise they will just get the dust in the vault for 15 years. As investment, I haven't kept Twilight Spinels for myself. My portfolio has garnets, it has Mahenge Spinels, a few other stones, but no Twilight Spinel yet. So maybe they are for you. Better someone wears and enjoys them than they sit unused. Number 17 to 20. Garnets from Tanzania, which we mutually decided to call Aurora color for its very beautiful, gentle hue. With these gems, we are moving to something more affordable, though still steadily rising in price. Garnets from Tanzania. As I said, together we found a name for it, Aurora. We all agree that it's the best name, and thank you for that, dear subscribers, for helping choose the name. Backstory of the deposit, just to entertain you. We received control of it basically for free. The heir who inherited it was, let's just say, very spoiled, extremely greedy, and difficult to work with. His father and grandfather before him had built the mine, but by handing everything to him, they raised someone who disrespected miners, wouldn't work, and treated people badly. So the workers literally abandoned him. At one point, he was even beaten. Eventually, nobody would work with him, so operations just stopped, and the ownership was offered to us. The deposit isn't too rich, so since the company took over in February this year, we have only hit 2 large pockets, which yielded about 200 K's profit, I think. At our scale, there's basically nothing. It's just a few days of company turnover. But owning a mine, selecting the best material ourselves, and seeing the process from the inside of the industry is truly valuable experience. And these Aurora Garnets, they sell like hotcakes. They're in demand worldwide. Japan, China, the US, Brazil, Peru, you name it. Garnets is general, it's a very popular gem because it comes in so many colors. There is even blue garnet, super rare though, from Madagascar. Currently the most expensive garnets are Tsavorite, we saw them earlier, and the blue garnets from Madagascar, which are mined in only one unstable spot. But most other garnet colors are still relatively affordable. They cost thousands of dollars, but not like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like Paraiba or Mahenge Spinel. Now, from 21 to 24, we have Massai Garnet or spessartine. Why it's nicknamed Massai Garnet? Because it's mostly mined today in the area where Massai people live, and yes, they themselves are the miners too. My first spessartine mining experience was with Massai miners, and picture it energetic and very cheerful male smashing straight into the vein with chisels, breaking the rock into dust. It was unforgettable. Still cry inside when I remember those moments. Scientifically, spessartine was first described in a place called Spessart in Germany, though at the time Germany didn't exist yet. So it was still a patchwork of small principalities, and hence it got the name. Now spessartine prices are climbing very quickly because it's bright, it's fiery and so rare. So naturally it's highly investable. Current sources on Earth? Very few. The only stable supply is in Tanzania, and even there production is falling. There is also a little in Nigeria, but already expensive, around 5,000 a carat, and now more like 6,000 a carat, I think they ask. To give you a sense of appreciation, 10 years ago, spessartine cost about $40 a carat. Can you imagine that? Today, fine stone trade for 1,000 to 2,000 per carat in wholesale, and not boutique prices, because boutiques are, of course, far higher. And the supply of the good quality spessartine has dropped drastically, like almost every gem material worldwide. We will talk separately in future live stream about the production and why it dropped everywhere at once across the globe. It's quite a big topic, and I will likely only get to that when I'm home in October, but keep looking at the new videos coming out. Okay, let's keep moving. 25 and 26. Quite affordable. Blue sapphires. Here I have picked two blue sapphires, just simple, clean, affordable stones that have been with us for a long time. And if you want them, just take them. They are inexpensive, especially by sapphire standards. For details, weights, prices, and so on, just open the description under the video. Each stone has a number, carat weight, and the price, which are listed there. Now, my usual sapphire advice, if somebody has a budget for, say, $10,000 and they write asking me to find a blue sapphire, I often suggest a spinel instead. Why? Because for 10K, you can buy a sapphire or a spinel. But sapphire will appreciate 5 to 10% a year, while the spinel appreciates 30 to 40% a year. However, many people still insist, I understand that investment is good, but I want sapphire. I want blue sapphire specifically. I want it for beauty, or because a fortune teller told me that's my stone, or because of my horoscope. For these clients, I show stones like this. They're clean, blue, attractive, and affordable. Now, 27 and 28. My favorite rainbow moonstone from Madagascar. We have two examples here, so in reality we have about 20 moonstones in stock now. I tell this story often, but since new subscribers join all the time, I will repeat myself. My business partner, one of my closest colleagues in the gem trade, became co-owner of a moonstone deposit in Madagascar for free, just like I did in Tanzania. Here's how it happened. So imagine yourself a villager, and one day he literally found a deposit on his land, in his backyard basically, so to speak. But he had no idea what to do with it. Traveling to sell wasn't possible. In his village nobody buys gem. The area is so remote that even buyers can't get there. So he offered us management of the deposit in exchange for 30% paid back to him, and we love deals like that. Now we manage the mining. One day I'll get there myself, but the trip is honestly very brutal. It's 2 days, full days of riding across the country motorbike. And after bouncing over rocks all day, your backside feels like it turned square, and your brain is literally rattling inside your skull. I know because I felt it. The headaches can last for days. Now imagine doing that for 2 days in a row. And when you arrive, there is no electricity, no water, nothing. Miners live in the grass hut there. Farmers live in houses made of sticks, hay and cow dung. And you see, one of those villagers is the legal owner of the mine. He has never even left his district. Forget Bangkok, Hong Kong, London, Paris. For him, living in the region would be like you or me going to Mars, I think. Impossible. So naturally, he will never sell in the big markets. That's why he partnered with us, and now this moonstone came through our channel. Now, numbers 29, 30 and 31. Golden or autumn tourmalines. We're moving on to another set of tourmalines, not ordinary ones though, but golden tone stones. Remember, together we once named this color family autumn. Why is it so interesting? Well, think about indigolite, blue-gray tourmaline. In the tropics it looks spectacular, bright, oceanic, just striking stone. But once you bring it to the northern hemisphere, like to Europe or Canada, it often turns just dark gray or nearly black, dull and very lifeless. These golden brown tourmalines do the opposite. The northern light, they actually become very vibrant, showing a whole forest of autumn colors, fiery red, golden yellows, deep browns, like looking at a fall landscape. And I never expected brownish tourmaline to look so lively in cool climates, but it does. One of the stones does have a small window, a central color patch, as you can see. But don't worry, we can always fix it after the sale, and we recalculate the price accordingly. So typically, we will be losing up to 1 carat, and the cost of recutting is on us, of course. Now, numbers 32 to 34. Watermelon tourmalines. These three tourmalines, they're not less vibrant, by the way. That's sometimes they're nicknamed watermelon, though these aren't the classic kind. Classic watermelon tourmaline has a strong green rim and a pink red center, clearly divided. These are more blended, so I would call them polychrome better. Tourmalines, like all gems, vary widely. And truth be told, high-quality watermelon polychrome tourmaline is less than 100% of what's mined. Most is full of fractures, has dangerous cracks, which can split the gem in two at any time. And some of them show a very dull gray cast that kills the color in northern light. But when you find vibrant ones like this, with open color, as they call it, meaning the color itself radiates rather than just in the surface polish, it's a treasure. Design-wise, these stones allow for so much creativity. Many clients surround them with pave of various colors. Through honestly, they are strong enough to shine on their own, in my opinion. 35, 36 and 38. Hand-selected tanzanite. Let me stress, picking fine tanzanite is extremely difficult. We take groups on field tours about once a year, and we go to the mining areas, we do lectures, we sort stones together and everything. So recently the students saw the process firsthand. At first glance, they think, wow, there are so many tanzanite, they're all blue, all beautiful. But when you look carefully, this one is 70% black, this one drifts toward gray, another one is too pale, this one has decent color but looks lifeless, no sparkle or fire in that. So out of 500 stones or more, we found maybe 2 that were truly ideal and 4 that they were kind of interesting. That's it. And I had trips where I spent 2 or 3 full days inspecting stones and bought 0 tanzanite after that. The same thing happens with other gems as well. Black star sapphire, garnets, and etc. etc. The more experienced you are, the fewer stones you actually select. That's a paradox. As your standard rise, your shopping bag shrinks. So when someone claims that they bought 30 top quality tanzanites in half a day, I know they simply don't understand what top quality looks like, because it's just impossible. And now to 38 and 39 unheated tanzanites, which are extremely rare if we're talking about fine color. So all the previous ones which we showed you, yes, they were heated. Almost all tanzanites are heat treated, and that's perfectly normal. It brings out that vivid blue flame everybody knows. But here is the thing. Fine unheated tanzanite is unbelievably rare. Why? Because 99% of raw before heating looks like muddy grey-brown lumps, which is completely unremarkable. To find an unheated stone that is transparent, attractive, and shows subtle rainbow flashes is next to impossible. So which one is better? Heated vivid blue or unheated subtle? That's purely personal choice, I think. Me? Well, I love both. The bright electric blue looks like living fire, and then heated ones have sort of a quiet poetry to that. Totally different aesthetics, but both. Okay, next we are going to our favorite quartz varieties. Number 40 is a rutilated quartz from Brazil. These are the clear quartz shot through with golden rutile needles, and we have made some of our most creative jewelry designs with these stones. Once I had boxes of them and now just a handful left. It's all Brazilian origin, so that means when they're gone for good, because there is only one known mining site in the world, and that has been exhausted. Number 41, another quartz variety I absolutely adore. This looks like wild spiky plants frozen inside. This was also from Brazil. Sadly, that mine closed almost 2 years ago, as I mentioned before, and I managed to keep one ring for myself, but the rest are all gone. Maybe one day I'll find more from locals. Finger crossed I will find something alike somewhere else, because I do like these stones. They like unnatural art pieces, where nature is the main artist. Number 42, silk steel quartz, as we call that. It's not the scientific name for that. And we actually never did come up with a proper name for this one. Why we call it steel silk or silk steel quartz? Because it has really fine metallic looking fibers inside quartz. And again, once there were quite a few of them, and now almost nothing left. And the prices are racing upward. Once upon a time they sold for tens of dollars, now thousands. Who would have thought quartz would ever behave like that? But here we are. Numbers 43 and 44. These what we call the forest quartz. They are spectacular. Inside the quartz you see what looks like frosty bushes or snowy branches, and the inclusions are mineral called dimeterite. You can look it up on Wikipedia or elsewhere. Again, mined in Brazil. Again, the deposit is exhausted. Now Brazilian middlemen who stockpile them are demanding 20 to 30,000 for a large fine specimen. And who is driving the market? China. Chinese collectors adore these quartzes, just like they drove demand for jadite, nephrite, and many other gem materials. While Chinese buyers catch it, the whole world follows. That's why prices exploded. And now 45, 46, and 47. Pearls. We are ending today with pearls, and I'm actually writing a gem encyclopedia, and the chapter on pearls has been recording for over a year now. We have been traveling and never finished that, but we plan to complete it maybe in October, alongside with the Tourmaline chapter. So jump on the YouTube to see the series about gemstones, and specifically about pearls. Where do they come from? What are the differences? How they're formed? How they're related? Etc. etc. So in short, a few key points about pearls are: you cannot tell freshwater versus saltwater pearl by eye. Then, in wear and care, they behave the same. Only a lab can distinguish the difference. And pearl prices are rising about 30% annually. Why? Environmental collapse. Some science even say that we have already passed the ecological point of no return, as they call it. And even if we stopped all plastic production right now, what's already in the oceans is enough to poison the planet. Microplastic clog oyster filters, and sick or dead oysters don't make pearls, as you can imagine. And yes, the pearls are farmed mostly, but it's not easy production. Healthy oysters are very rare. The healthier and older the oyster, the higher the chances of a beautiful high-quality pearl. And those oysters are disappearing, unfortunately. So every year, premium quality pearls shrink in supply by a factor of 10. And those are the pearls I prefer working with. Mirror bright, lustrous, premium grade. That's the future of our work, because soon the top quality stuff will vanish completely. On that somber note, we will close today's review. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Wishing you peace and clear skies above. If you saw a stone you love, check the description for the details, weight, prices, lot numbers, and write us on WhatsApp at the number listed.